The last PlayStation 5 event really got things rolling. We were waiting ages for any PS5 information and what we got was great. Now that a little bit of time has passed and we've been able to gather our thoughts on the games shown and the design of the actual console itself, I got to thinking. It's rumoured that the next event should be sometime in August. I really can't see it being in July, it seems a bit early, and I'm not sure they'd want to leave some details any later than August. Sony said themselves there will be more on PS5 soon, and it's always fun to speculate what they'll do next, so what do I predict will show up at the next event? This one may seem a little bit obvious, but I want to see more games with release dates at the next event. We have already got a pile of games announced in the last event, which is great, but apart from Spider-Man Miles Morales getting a holiday 2020 release date shown, we don't know much about what else is going to be launching on PS5. I don't expect the launch lineup of games to be anything spectacular, apart from I think Spider-Man Miles Morales will be great, but we need to know about what will be there when PS5 comes out. Will there be another first-party surprise? What sort of third-party support will be there? We know The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Avengers and Cyberpunk 2077 will have nicer looking PS5 versions, but what will be there that is just a PS5 exclusive game and not a cross-generation title or an upgrade? I predict we'll see another first-party game. I've no idea if it'll be a new IP or a sequel to something, but I fully expect there to be something else big. I also think even though it will be a cross-gen title, that the new Call of Duty will be there for launch, and with how good the Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign looked on PS4, I really hope Treyarch deliver a great looking campaign and zombies mode. And because Sony have marketing rights to Call of Duty, I feel like it'll show up at this next event, because it's weird we haven't seen anything from the new Call of Duty this late in the year, so it's bound to be at that PlayStation event. I'm also just going to throw out this wild card, and if it's right, you heard it here first, a remaster of an old God of War game. I don't care which one it is, I just want to see any of them utilising the PS5's power because I'm a huge fan and that would be amazing. Oh yeah, and one more crazy idea, an announcement that After Dreams Media Molecule will be working on Little Big Planet 4. I think it would be important for Sony to show off the specs of their upcoming system. Mark Cerny went into a huge amount of detail back in March talking about the PS5 specs, but that was mainly targeted towards developers. The presentation was originally meant to be at Games Developers Conference 2020, but after that got cancelled, they just live streamed it on YouTube. This was all very heavy information and kind of boring for the general public. If they came out on stage and hit people with quick bullet points about the console, like it's this many times faster than PS4 Pro and you can get this many frames per second at 4K and you can only get this feature on PlayStation 5, I think it would really help get people excited about the power of PlayStation 5. And it's always good to know the power of something before you go out and buy it, especially when it's as expensive as a new console like this. The trouble is finding the balance between information like transfer speeds of the SSD that people probably don't care about and just straight up showing us look how fast everything is on PlayStation 5. I think they'll show us some of the specs and it will probably be easy to understand and watch. On the topic of load times, one of the PS5's most unique features is the extremely fast SSD. You can't buy one like it at the time of writing this video and it's considerably faster than the Xbox Series X's SSD. That was a lot of S sounds. What does this mean? Load times on PS5 will be fractions of what they used to be. Things like all the splash screens before you see when you're waiting for a game to load can be cut. Areas in games that force you to move slowly so the next area can be loaded don't have to exist anymore. You can move faster in open worlds because the PlayStation can load what is around you faster. Fast travel, where you pick a location on a map and have to watch a loading screen for a few seconds, can now actually be instantaneous and properly fast. I love the idea of an SSD being standard in a new console because it opens up so many more doors for developers to make more full, lived-in worlds, because they're not limited by a slow mechanical hard drive with moving parts in it from 2013. So I think it would be very important for Sony to show off their SSD technology by loading up a game, fast travelling, switching to different games maybe, just to show us how fast it is, because using the PS4 and PS4 Pro can often be very slow and clunky, and you feel like it should be faster, so letting us see the SSD in action would definitely get people excited to say goodbye to load times. Another thing I think they'll maybe quickly show us is the user interface. We've heard little details about how it's familiar but redesigned from the ground up to take advantage of the PS5's hardware, and I just really want to see it. I think they'll spend maybe even 5 minutes just going around the menu showing us where things are, what's the same and what's moved about. It would be really interesting. Specifically if they showed us how fast it is, because like I say, the PS4 UI feels so much slower than it should be. So if they let us see a super snappy, super responsive user interface where you don't have to randomly wait like 5 seconds for things to pop up, I would love that. This isn't a prediction and I know the chances of it happening are tiny, but I'd love to see the UI design go back to the XMB cross-media design that the PS3 and PSP had. Or on the other side of the fence entirely, imagine they unveiled the user interface and it's the Smarties design that we saw on the PS Vita. That would honestly be amazing. Realistically though, I predict it won't be all that different to the PS4's UI because it works and they don't have much of a reason to radically redesign it. I hope I'm wrong on that one though. They really can't wait too much longer than August to reveal the price of their two consoles. Time needs to be allowed for things like pre-orders to be placed and for people to actually figure out how much money they need to save up. I think August is a great time to unveil the price. My only fear is they'll keep holding out if Microsoft doesn't have a price revealed by then for the Xbox Series X and the Project Lockhart console. My predictions for how much it will cost? Probably $500 or £450, and honestly it's up in the air how much the cheaper digital edition will be. I mean, the alleged leak on Amazon France showed it being a full 100 euros cheaper, and I still have a hard time believing the difference is that big considering in manufacturing. I could be wrong, but I think the Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray drive in the PS5 costs them about $15 per unit. Honestly, we'll just have to wait and see, but I stand by the prediction. The regular PS5 will be $500 or £450 unless Microsoft reveals their pricing strategy this month and Sony figures out a way to take a loss on every system to undercut Microsoft, but it really seems like they can't do that this generation. If they're able to come out on stage and say the PS4 is $449 and £399, that would be insane. I feel like we really need to find out more about backwards compatibility regarding the PS5. I've already done a video all about backwards compatibility on PS5 and what we know so far, and I highly suggest you check it out after you're done watching this one. I'll make sure to have it in the end screen, but since I've made that video, backwards compatibility was mentioned and Sony said something about PS4 games working with PS5. It was all in Japanese, so the details of the article are a little muddy. When they were asked about PS1, PS2 and PS3, they said they weren't able to talk about it right now, or something along those lines. Now, they've always flat out denied backwards compatibility when it's been brought up regarding PS4, so the fact they didn't say no, it's not a thing, kind of gives me a little hope. I feel like if there is hope to be had, the next event is where they'll show us backwards compatibility working. Like I've said it before, even if they could work on a limited catalogue of PS3 games and expand upon it throughout the generation, that would be amazing. So many people want PS3 backwards compatibility, and I know there are technical issues surrounding it, making it fit for the general public, but I'd just love to see it happen and I can genuinely see it selling systems. My prediction, however, is they'll talk a little bit about the process of making PS4 games work on PlayStation 5, and that's about it. But not only do I want them to talk about that, I think they'll show us something. For example, Infamous Second Son has an uncapped frame rate, so show us that game running in a boost mode looking a little nicer than it already does on PS4. Instead of God of War being stuck at 4K 30fps, let us see it running much smoother at 60fps. Seeing your PS4 games running much better on the newer hardware would further add to the list of reasons to pick up PS5, and I know for a fact I'll be spending a little bit of time putting my old PS4 discs into my PS5 when it comes out to see what visually is nicer about them. Oh yeah, and while they're at it, they should show us that PSVR headset plugged into the PS5. They've said it will be compatible, but it would be a good peace of mind for people to actually see that in action. Those are some of my predictions for the next PlayStation 5 event. I'm super excited for it, and chances are you are too. Let me know down in the comments what some of your predictions for the next event are, because I'd love to read them. I might do a follow-up video about crazy things I'd love to see at a PlayStation event, but I tried to keep this one realistic and grounded as I possibly could. A video full of crazy ideas would be really fun to do though. But that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider hitting that like button, it really helps the channel. And if you really enjoyed the video, please subscribe because I'm trying to hit 50 subs by the end of the year. If you want to stay up to date with the channel, you can find me over on Twitter at AnthonyJGaming. I'm AnthonyJGaming on the PlayStation Network as well, so add me over there. Finally, on Instagram, I'm AnthonyJosephGaming. But that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.